One of the things that I feel like we've kind of explored and are working through right now that's really exciting to me is the idea of how do you make sure that your valuations actually capture the essence of what you need for an agent. And that's not just, asking a question and then having an answer and then using an LLM as a judge. Like that's a very basic set of things that you need as a baseline. But then if you have a multi-agent framework, such as the one that we have, okay, now how do you figure out how this affects multiple sub-agent calls, and how does the trade-off between accuracy and speed line up? And for different sorts of workflows where it's not necessarily question and answer, but it's more operational or it's more of a writing style workflow, how do you kind of figure out what is the right type of evaluation even for that?
Yeah, 100%. There's a really cool use case at one of our fintech companies that I was chatting to the user about, where they have a bunch of agents in their anti-money laundering org, right? So they've already got like hundreds of agents doing AML stuff. And they're rolling out a new risk policy for prediction markets, right? Are these gambling companies? Are these not gambling companies? We need an official policy for that. So they're rolling out the new policy, but somehow they need to figure out, like, how do we make sure that all of these hundreds of agents are able to internalize and operate correctly on this new risk policy? And so being able to use Creedle to like do branching on all of these agents, create a branch version of all the agents, like reconfigure the prompts, reconfigure the instructions, reconfigure the sort of guidelines so that you can actually test how the agents are behaving on the new version of the policy. Once you've got all of these branched agents on this like same branch interacting with each other, you're confident that all of those agents are happy. You can now say, okay, like we're ready to go live, merge all of those branches into your like, your main branch and roll out the risk policy. So it's like in the old world, you'd have had to do a bunch of training, you'd have to do a bunch of L&D, roll out documentation for your humans. Well, there's an analogous process for that for agents, but you're drawing on some of the concepts from traditional version control and software and traditional like L&D change management process from like, traditional enterprise, like human stuff, right? So that's actually been really cool to see the intersection of the old and the new between software and human processes.